My name is Joshua, and I am the Tribune. God is extremely excited to court his generals, which are going to be his best friends, and also the upcoming generations. Now, it's important to understand God's courting process because when we think about being courted or courting, we think of going on this fantastic date and having this great day where and your partner or your love interest or whoever it is, you guys go and experience this day of excitement and thrill and distractions, and maybe you go to a theme park, you go to a movie. Your focus is always on other things because that is the icebreaker with humans is we focus on other things to get to know each other and become comfortable with each other. Now, God is absolutely not like this at first. Now, when God comes to court you, you have to understand that you are experiencing the God of the universe, the most beautiful and magnificent and wonderful being that will ever exist and has ever existed. And there is nobody even close to like how he is. It is an absolute honor to get to know him. There is no other attraction greater than your relationship with God because there is nothing better. So, when God comes to court you, you must understand that he is the attraction. So what he will do is he will put you in a situation where it's only you and him and really nothing else. Now, this is the most important piece to understand because he will put you in a situation where you really have nothing else to focus on but him because he knows that he's the best thing for you. Now, in human terms, that would be very, very arrogant to say, listen, I'm going to take you on a date and we are going to sit in a room with nothing, me and you, nothing, because I don't want you to miss me. I don't want you to not realize how amazing I am because you're so used to a process that is blinding you. You're so used to distractions that you're eating things that are on such a low level that you're happy with that maybe you won't look up from the plate and see that you're missing the greatest thing ever. So I'm just in case you might miss it. I love you too much to let you miss me. Now, this is how God is. Now, someone could argue, and this would be missing the entire point, but someone can argue, oh, well, if God's so great and so wonderful, he should be able to take you anywhere and you should be able to see it. No, but that's not how humans work. He is that wonderful where he can easily take you anywhere and you would and blow your mind, doesn't matter what's around you. But the problem is that humans are flawed and humans have free will and humans are very distracted. And we are different. We are so dealing with sin sometimes that we are actually blinded. So he has to start cutting a lot of stuff away from us in order to court us properly. So it's a loving thing when he does this. Now, how does this look, this process? How does it begin? Well, it begins with him taking a sword and cutting off anything that will distract you and that you're focused on. He will not only he will do the cutting himself all around you, but he will also give you a knife and have you help and start cutting also. So you both are going to be cutting at first, where everything's just leaving you, you are leaving the things, and you are going further and further into a realm of seclusion where it looks like you're by yourself or in a situation where you hate or don't want to be in. But really, he's right there with you because he really wants you to look directly at him only to make sure that you don't miss it. Now, another reason why he does it like this is because this is one of his booby traps. Imposters cannot get this relationship with God and cannot be courted in this way because imposters who are so focused on Satan stuff, they will not see God because he has put up a booby trap. So the people who are willing to come into this space with him are really wanting to get to know him, and he loves that. This is another reason why he does not do what you would think he would do like a human. Like just take you to all these wonderful places and court you, and then you almost fall in love with the experience too, and not really the person. And that's another big problem that we have as humans. We really don't get to know people. We get to know a honeymoon period. But what God does is he likes to do the opposite. He wants to take you into a really dark situation and then show how awesome he is even in a dark situation. Now, can you imagine a human doing this? Can you imagine being courted or courting and saying, I'm going to take you on the worst date ever and we're going to have the worst day in the entire world because I want to show you that even in the darkest place, I am more than enough. That would be crazy. Nobody ever does that because it wouldn't make any sense and nobody's that good. But this is how God is. He does opposite. So when you see that God is doing this in your life, it's important to go along with the process because if you don't, you have fallen into the booby trap, which is he sifts who's really trying to be his friend and who's not. Because it's will you go in the hard place with him that you don't want to go and let him prove himself to you? That's the question. Now, this is done through covering. He will bring you into his covering. He will give you rules. This is the important part. I'm going to bring it to a practical place for you so you can understand what I'm saying. He will give you real rules in your life that he doesn't want you to cross. Boundaries that he doesn't want you to cross. That is keeping you from distraction. Now, you still have a choice to cross those lines, and you are sacrificing many things by doing that. You're sacrificing your relationship with him. You're sacrificing yourself and your purpose. And maybe even your very life, you're sacrificing it, especially in this times. In this time right now, people are doing that. He has ordered everybody to stay in. And he is opened up a massive courting for everybody, the entire world. And the people who don't want to do the hard thing and the most uncomfortable thing and want to go inside and they don't want to go in and get to know him, those are the same people who are taking poison in their arm. And this is by design. Now, there's a disclaimer right here that I need to say. This is especially for the upcoming generations. When you see people start dying and dropping like flies all around you, and you see just a giant bloodbath surrounding you that God has actually ordered, do not call this a conspiracy. Do not blame this on humans, because that would be a big mistake. Because what you're doing then is you're saying that God was out of control. He didn't have control, and these people did this. No, God ordered this because this is how he is. Because he's not going to let you not have a chance to get to know him as the younger generations. He's not going to let anybody who's over you block you from his courting. So what you need to do is you need to see this purging that's about to happen, the people who are going to survive this, as a courting opportunity for you. He is courting you. And he will absolutely show you, if you come to him, he will show you how beautiful and wonderful he is, even in that situation. He will show you that he is much worth it. It's not even, you can't even say much worth it, way more than much worth it. So, going back to the topic, the practical thing, you need to make sure that you listen and stand under whatever rules he puts you in and under and around you during the time where he is putting you under covering. Because what he's doing is he is taking away all the distractions. He is taking away all the things that you were choosing over him, that you just couldn't help yourself because you just wanted to, and you wanted to focus on these things. No, he's giving you a chance to just have one-on-one time with him. And there's no other room better than being in a room with him by yourself, with him and you. This is what he's going to show you. At first, it's going to look really crazy, and it's going to look very lonely. It's going to feel like you lost everything. And it looks like you're just in a situation that cannot be God. But I want to tell you that it is absolutely God when he does this. He especially does this with his generals and his people who he wants to be best friends with. Because you have to know how awesome God is. You have to know that he is so beautiful that even in a situation when you have nothing, he is more than enough for you. This is what you have to know. This is the foundation of even the beauty that comes out of your relationship with Christ. Now, if you do not listen to these rules and obey the rules he's put around you after he gives you your covering, then you have to understand that's disobedience. Because it's the highest level of disobedience, because he's trying to be your friend. He wants you to get to know him. And you're saying, no, I don't want to do that. This is the danger of not listening to the rules of your covering. For example, let's say he puts you in a place where he wants to make sure that you're not around a lot of people. For you to go chase people is a total disrespect to the Father. And these times he's not patient with this. Sometimes he's patient, but these are the times where he is actually, he's very serious about making sure that the people who he wants to have a relationship with them has that chance. The backside of this is I really am horrified to be a person who is trying to distract one of these people or block them, who God is trying to get to know. Because he is so serious about this, he is removing people for this. They are coming under his sword for this. Now, this leads to another part of it that is most important and most wonderful. As you move through this process with God, after you go through his difficult courting process where he strips you completely and brings you under covering with rules so that you can get to know how wonderful he is in a hard, difficult, excruciatingly painful time maybe. After you go through that, now you get to know the person who holds all joy in his hand. You are become friends with the God of the universe, who is pure wonderment. Something he's trying to get you to is a place where your best experiences are with him. This is very important, because your experiences, when people who experience their best times with God are truly blessed people, because there is nothing higher than that. There's nothing higher than his wonderful times with you. So what that does is, after he goes through that hard process with you, he starts revealing parts of himself that will shock you and just dazzle you and consume you with beauty. From there, that builds the relationship with the Lord, so that even if you hit a hard place, or you hit a place where he's maybe correcting you or something like that along the way through his preparation, You are not so focused on maybe even the hard thing or the correction, because you're so infatuated with how beautiful his character is. This is true relationship. This is also a blocker from people who are always going to God in a crisis. They only want to talk to God and pray and listen to God's and what he's trying to say, and listen to his word or whatever it is, only when they're in a hard time. And then they wonder why they can't hear God in those kind of times. They wonder why their ears are totally blocked and their vision is just totally blurry. It's because you haven't gone through the process to spend time with God in the best times. That we see this on a small level with human relationships. Can you imagine if your partner or your family member or your best friend, you only went to talk to them when you're having a horrible time and you needed some help? Is that really a friendship? Is that really a relationship? Absolutely not. That is someone who is using somebody. That is someone who is selfish. That is someone who really doesn't have a heart to get to know a person. So how much more do you think God would expect you to get to know him in the good times? After he separates you from everything, you need to have your best times with God. Then when you reach out to him when you need something, or when you're in a situation you need some peace, you need something to help you, or you need instruction or wisdom or direction, you can trust in peace that he's going to guide you because you already know him. You spent the time with him in the good times. You're pulling from your good moments and your good seasons with him. This is the secret to having great peace. You go through the pruning, and after you go through the pruning, then from there you start building with God and getting a relationship with him, and your best times become with God. This is your safe place. This is what his agenda is. Now, I mentioned that God's different from humans, where the humans, we take people on the first date, we try to do the best ever, and then it just pretty much just keeps getting more dull from there. You're not going to go to Disneyland every day. And even Disneyland gets tiring. You're not going to go to a movie every day. You're not going to go out to a nice dinner every single day and just stay in that restaurant. You're not going to live there. But what God does is he does opposite. He starts in the lowest place, proves himself to you mightily, that he is more than enough in your darkest place. Then from there, he just keeps proving how great he is and just keeps growing his greatness with you infinitely. And you just keep moving forward with God to a higher place. Each level, you keep seeing how wonderful he is and how more beautiful he is. He never goes down. He always goes up. And the booby trap is, if you don't want to go through the hard time with him first, you don't want to seclude yourself and fall under his covering and stay inside of the protection of his rules for you, you won't experience the most beautiful sides of God that he just builds with you over so much time, so many years. In preparation. This is just in preparation. I'm not even talking about him actually going and building the actual building, the palace with you. I'm not talking about that. That's wonderful in itself. I'm talking about the preparation period is so beautiful. Just sitting in the room with him and listening to him talk to you and teach you what he wants you to know about yourself and about him and about what he's going to build with you is so beautiful that alone by itself, I would say, is enough. More than enough. you will come out of your preparation time with God and actually start getting a little depressed. Because you'll start getting depressed because now he's like, okay, now I talked to you, now let's go do this thing. And maybe I'm talking to you a little less because you understand how I am, you understand I'm talking to you less, well, let's do it, I'm still here. And you start getting depressed, you're like, wow, I actually miss being in the room with you, just me and you just talking. I really miss that. That's what I want. That's my heart's desire. And every time then you're building and he calls you back in the room, you get excited. Because that's the relationship. So the biggest point in this, the end point, is making sure that after you go through these difficult times, which could be heartbreak, could be surrounded by death, and will be, he is going to show you that your time with him is better than anybody's time that you've spent with anybody you know that you've thought, oh, that this person is, I've had the most fun and the most joy and the most beautiful times with this person. He's going to say, I need to show you that that was nothing compared to what it's like being with me. Then you have an anchor. From there on, you will not forget these moments with him. And then your heart posture is much different. You come to him from a place of not frantic, please help me, and I wonder if you will do it. No. When you hit those situations, you come from places like, wow, we're already friends. I know, even if it doesn't look like what I think it's going to look like, I know you've got me covered because I've gotten to know you. In fact, I already experienced you with nothing. So that's a big foundational time when you're following his rules for your covering and he's secluding you. It's foundational for when you're building with him. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not as hard as you would think it would be because you're already experiencing with nothing. So now we're building from here. And I have history with you. This is how you're going to think about God. So the thing he wants me to tell you today is that he is so wonderful. He is what you're looking for. And he is going to shut everything down around you to give you a chance to see him without any distractions. And you need to take that chance. You need to go and experience him and take the opportunity and work with that. Because you really won't regret it. This is the reason for him stripping everything down to what looks like nothing. He's more beautiful than you could even think. And he's excited to show you himself. If you can imagine that. He is just like, he's just, I can't wait to just get them with just me and them. It's a powerful principle. So let this encourage you when he starts courting you. Remember that his courting is not like a human courting. It's much higher and much better. There is nobody like our God. And there never will be. And there never has been. Hail Jehovah.